Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So here we are continuing with the discussion of the grandchildren of Swayambhuva Manu. Earlier we have discussed sufficiently of Devahuti specifically, and Prasuti and Akuti. Now Akuti and her husband Ruchi, so through them were born who? Yajna and Dakshina. So through Yajna, who were all born? So that's what we see in text 7. How many? 12 boys were born of Yajna and Dakshina. So these are all like grandchildren of Swayambhuva Manu. 12 boys. Their names are Tosha, Pratosha, Santosha, Bhadra, Shanti, Idaspati, Idhma, Kavi, Vibhu, Swahna, Sudeva and Rochana. Shri Krishna Balarama ki. So 12 names of the sons of Yajna and Dakshina. And then in today's verse we see Tushita Nama Te Deva. All these 12 sons headed by Tosha, they came to be known as Tushitas. Tushita Nama Te Deva Asan Swayambhuvantare. During the term of Swayambhuva Manu, so these Tushitas, they were born, they expanded the progeny, and during that time, during the time of Swayambhuva Manu, 6 other categories of living entities were also born. So we find the description in the purport, later we'll see. Asan Swayambhuvantare Marichi Mishra Rishayo. The 7 sages during the term of Swayambhuva Manu, they were headed by Marichi. Marichi Mishra. Mishra means Marichi, headed by Marichi. So they were the rishis, Saptarshis, and then Yajnaha Suraganeshwaraha. Yajna became Suragana Ishwaraha. Suragana means the host of demigods, and the leader of them or the king of the demigods, who is generally known as Indra. Yajna became the Indra or took up the post of Indra during the term of Swayambhuva Manu. So we'll see these things little closely. So here, first we should recollect how. This is the first Manu's time period which we are discussing now. There are 14 Manus in each day of Brahma. And first Manu was Swayambhuva Manu. And in each day, creation, maintenance, destruction, continuously it goes on. Now if we see what is the time duration of Swayambhuva Manu. So it is said, like we know, one day of Brahma is Sahasra Yuga Paryantam, 1000 Mahayugas. And in one day of Brahma, there are 14 Manus. So 1000, if we divide by 14, it comes to approximately 71. 71 Mahayugas. So that is the term of one Manu. So like that 14 Manus put together, it makes one day of Brahma equal to 1000 Mahayugas. So one Manu's duration is 71 Mahayugas. So now if we again go into details, what is this one Mahayuga? It is a sum total of Satya, Treta, Dwapara and Kali Yuga, which comes to 43 lakh years approximately. Satya Yuga's duration is how much? Kali Yuga's is 4 lakh 32. Double of this is Dwapara Yuga 8 lakh 64. Thrice of this 12 lakh 96 is Treta Yugas, and 4 times this comes to 17 lakh odd years. So all put together it comes to around 43 lakh years. This is one Mahayuga. So now you tell me, Swayambhuva Manu's duration, 43 lakh multiplied by how many? 71, yes, 71 Mahayugas. So one Mahayuga duration is 71 lakh. So if you multiply 43 lakh by 71, it comes to around 30 crores odd years. So that is the duration of one Manu, approximately 30 crore years. So now we are in the 7th Manvantara, Vaivasvata Manvantara. Now we are speaking of the first Manu, Swayambhuva Manu's duration. At that point of time, in the beginning, so specifically here in the purport Srila Prabhupada mentions, 6 kinds of living entities were generated. So their names are Manus, Devas, Manuputras, Amshavataras, Sureshwaras and Rishis. So these are the 6 category we find. So here another point we need to note here is Marichi Mishra Rishayo. At the end of every Manvantara, meaning at the end of every 71 Mahayugas, one term of Manu, all the administrative demigods, the Devatas, there will be changes in their position, in their posts. All the Saptarshis, the 7 great sages, so that position, posts will be occupied by various living entities. So during first Swayambhuva Manvantara, the head of the Saptarshis was Marichi. And big list is there. Now again, next Manvantara, another set of rishis will take up that position. And one among them will be their head. So likewise, during the term of Swayambhuva, it was Marichi. He headed the Saptarshis, and then the main Indra Padavi, or the post of Indra, was occupied by whom? Yajna. And who is Yajna? Lord Himself. The Supreme Personality of God Himself appeared through Akuti as Yajna, and He took up the post of Indra. So in many other places we can remember how Srila Prabhupada says that Brahma, Indra, these are all different positions, different living entities qualified for that position during different manvantaras or during different kalpas or whatever universes when they all come out of the body of Mahavishnu. So they take up these positions. Sometimes it happens that no living entity is eligible to occupy that post, because the post of Indra is not something ordinary. He is the head of all the devatas. So sometimes when no living entity is qualified to occupy that post, the Supreme Lord Himself will take up in charge of that post. It may be of Brahma. Now here we are seeing of Indra. So Yajna took up the position or the post of Indra during the term of Swayambhuva Manu. So it is just like modern example we can compare it to, so that it will be easy for us to understand. Think there is this Lok Sabha elections. Once the election happens and the results are declared, so depending on the result, the position of the Prime Minister, the cabinet ministers, the different ministers heading different ministries, all their posts, there will be a change. Different people occupy that position. There will be one finance minister, prime minister, and different departments. That post is there, but different living entities, they occupy that post. Similarly, one manvantara, 30 crore years, that is the duration. Maybe like we can compare that 5 years of whatever administrative term is there in our country, that is 33 crore years. So different living entities occupy these posts and they are engaged in their administrative activities. At the end of one manvantara, again different set of saptarshis, different set of devatas, they'll occupy those positions. So that's what we are seeing here. During the term of Swayambhuva Manu, who were all the saptarshis and who were the devatas, and the devatas were headed by Indra, who was none other than the Supreme Lord Himself in the form of Yajna. So this is the overall description. Now let us try to understand all these elaborate arrangement the Supreme Lord has made in the material world. Mamaivamsho jiva loke jiva bhutaha sanatanaha. All the living entities in the material world, they are all sanatana, eternal, my part and parcels, mama eva amshaha. We are all part and parcels of the Supreme Lord. But being averse to Him, turning our faces away from Him, prakriti stani karshati. We have become entangled with the material nature. And manashashtani indriyani prakritistani karshati. This prakriti or maya, material nature, she has given us one body which is a bondage. And in this body there is manaha shashtani indriyani. There are 5 senses, and the head among them, head of the 5 senses, the mind, put together 6. So every living entity, they are simply suffering which is not due for them. Actually they are not meant for that purpose. But because they are averse to the Lord, they have come to this material world, taken shelter of material nature, and they have started identifying with the gross body as oneself. And in this gross body, there are the senses and the mind, and because of which simply they are suffering. Usually this question comes to us: why unnecessarily God has created this suffering? In a nice way he could have told the living entities, "Arey, don't go to material world, that's a place of suffering, you come back to me." Of course the Lord has done this, but are the living entities ready to accept that simple instruction of God? The answer is no. They have made themselves complicated. They want to enjoy independent of God. The tendency has not gone. I will earn my karma, I will earn the fruits and I will enjoy them. So this is what kamya karma, fruitive mentality, they have gone into. Constitutionally, we are all meant for the service of the Lord. The living entity obtains happiness by serving the Supreme Lord. That's his constitutional position. But now he wants to try for happiness independently, bereft of the Supreme Lord. This is the cause for all of his suffering. Now suffering. Will he at all come to his sense? What do you say? He goes on suffering, and will he rectify his mistake and do the needful? Many a times, no. That's why the Supreme Lord, time and again, he makes his appearance in this material world. Time and again, he sends his confidential associates to reclaim back the conditioned living entities. So, from the Bhagavatam, one nice story I would like to narrate, which brings out this point very vividly. So, this is the story of Prajapati Daksha, how he curses Narada Muni. Maybe like the tug of war which took place between Daksha and Narada Muni. So Daksha, he was a Prajapati meant to increase the progeny, populate this world. That was the order given by his father Brahma, and he, through his wife Panchajani, gave birth to 10,000 sons. 10,000 in number. They were known as Haryashvas. So all of them were very obedient to their father, were very gentle, and their father instructed Don't become rogues. First you go perform tapasya, and after performing tapasya, you come back, I'll get you married, and then your task is to increase the progeny, increase the population. So as very gentle, humble, obedient sons, all the Haryashvas accepted their father's instructions and went to Narayana Saras to perform tapasya, a place known as Narayana Saras. It's a very nice place, very pure water. They took their bath, and all of them, they engaged themselves in various kinds of austerities to purify themselves. And at that point of time, Narada Muni comes there. So he looks at them, so nice, gentle, obedient, submissive, nice young boys. And what are they doing? They are performing austerities to purify themselves. So they are already very pure. And what will they do next? They are as per the instructions of their father. They'll be going back to their father, and what do their father wants them to do? Get married, make children, and whatever, involve themselves in family life, all kinds of sukha, dukkha, all these things. Narada Muni felt compassion towards them. Already they are so pure, so nice. Why do they want to go again back to their father and get entangled in all kinds of miserable conditions of this material world? Let me help them get liberated from this world. So Narada Muni goes there, and nice instructions he gives. And it is said how Narada Muni, it's not that very elaborately tried to convince them, push them and all of those things. No. Very short, crisp, brief instructions he gave. And especially it is said, like he explained to them one allegory. Just like Puranjana's story, allegory, we have heard the city of 9 gates, and it's compared to a body, all those things. Likewise, another allegory, allegorically, Narada Muni gives them one instruction that there is one world and there is one Purusha, only one Purusha who is there, and there is one deep dark hole. Anyone goes and falls into it, very difficult to come out. And inside that hole, there is one prostitute who dresses herself very nicely and allures everybody. And she has one husband who has become completely captivated to her. So that's all inside there. And also there is a house made up of 25 elements, and there is one swan, white colored swan, like this different description he gives. And he doesn't go to explain that. But all the 10,000 Haryashvas, they were so intelligent, they were so spiritually advanced, they could easily make out what Narada Muni is trying to tell us. See, when we hear these things, we cannot make out what is what. But all the Haryashvas, they were so spiritually advanced, they could make out. The description is given like this: the world with only one man or Purusha, it's a supreme personality of Godhead, referring to the entire Lord's creation. And there is a bila, a hole. So that's compared to all the planetary systems, especially the lower planetary systems, Patala and all. And the prostitute who wears attractive clothes, it is compared to material intelligence. It is because of material intelligence we start creating or making plans to enjoy in this material world. So that's compared to a prostitute. different kinds of it doesn't stick on to one person. So that's the comparison given here. And one more thing, there is a river which is flowing in both directions. We have seen normally river flows in one direction, they're left or right, east or west, whatever. But there it is said there is a river flowing in both directions. So that they understood it as creation and annihilation. Simultaneously, both are happening. A river flowing in both directions, creation and annihilation. And it is said there the currents are very high, especially near the banks, the two banks of the river. And the banks are compared to Jnana and Tapasya. So the currents are very high there. And the house made of 25 elements, that's the entire material world. This part of the Lord's cosmic body. So the 25 elements there. And then there is a swan, white swan, that's compared to the Vedic literatures. The Vedic literatures and the saintly people who carry the knowledge of the Vedic literatures, they are the only hope to come out of this material entanglement. And also last, one more point, it is said that there is a physical object made of sharp blades and thunderbolts. What is this object? It is the eternal time which moves very sharply as if made of razors and thunderbolts, uninterrupted and fully independent. It drives the activities of the entire world. So that's one physical object which is there, which is rotating on its own, having sharp blades, which is none other than Kala or time, which is moving the entire world. So like this was the description given by Narada Muni, and all the 10,000 Haryashvas, they understood, what are we doing? Again we have to go back here to this place. So they decided, no, they'll not go back to their father, Daksha. And then what happened? Daksha became very angry. Upon whom? Narada Muni. And see, after doing this, Narada Muni, who took the news to Daksha? Narada Muni himself went there. My dear Daksha Maharaja, all your sons are now, they will not come back. They have taken the path of liberation. And Daksha was very much upset. He became very depressed. It is said, Lord Brahma came there to pacify Daksha. No issues, okay, anyhow 10,000, okay, one batch, they are gone. Again you continue your whatever creation. Another set of children, you give birth to. So on the order of Brahma, again Daksha Prajapati, he gave birth to 1,000 sons again. And they were known as Shavalashvas. Shavalashva. Haryashva and Shavalashva. And okay, so same instruction was given again. Okay, go, don't become rogues. First perform tapasya, purify yourself, come back, and then your task would be to get married and increase the population to create progeny. So they are also very obedient, very submissive sons. So they also went to Narayana Saras. They performed tapasya. Again Narada Muni goes there. And he says, do you know the story of your elder brothers, what they did? And again the same thing repeats. So they all decided, so we should follow our elder brothers, the Haryashvas, what they did. So we also would like to follow in their footsteps. So they also did not come back to their father and get married and create population, all of those things. And now Daksha Maharaja was in fire. Was very angry. And again, Narada Muni did not hesitate to confront him. So when Narada Muni went there, so Daksha Maharaja says, "You have done abominable injustice to my sons. They're all such innocent sons, very obedient, very simple boys. You have done injustice to them." And he says, "Although you wear the dress of a devotee, you create enmity with people who are not your enemies." See, they are not your enemies, but you go and create enmity there. Or you break friendship and create enmity between friends. Between father and son, or between friends, you go there and you're creating enmity there. That's the accusation. Srila Prabhupada nicely writes in the purport there, coming in the disciplic succession of Narada Muni. Many people accuse, the way they are accusing Narada Muni, similarly they'll accuse devotees also. But devotees should be tolerant with all of these accusations. And finally, Daksha Maharaja, he says, Prajapati Daksha, see, I'm telling these things to help us understand better the mindset of material people. See, Prajapati Daksha was not an ordinary person. He's fully aware of the Vedic literatures, the teachings about the Supreme Lord, about the difficulties in the material world, about liberation. Everything he is fully aware. Full knowledge he has. But see his argument. He says, material enjoyment is indeed the cause of all unhappiness. See, these are spoken by Daksha. He is telling material enjoyment is the cause of all unhappiness. But one cannot give it up unless one has personally experienced how much suffering it is. So his argument is that one should personally experience. He should enjoy nicely and then he should suffer nicely, and only then he will come to his senses. That experience he should have. Therefore, one should be allowed to remain in so-called material enjoyment while simultaneously advancing in knowledge to experience the misery of this false material unhappiness. So one should be allowed to enjoy material happiness. Simultaneously, he should go acquire knowledge, perform some punya karma, all these things, so that little nullification will happiness, and over a period of time, then without help from others, one will find material enjoyment detestful. Let him experience all kinds of material enjoyment, and finally he'll come to the conclusion that material enjoyment is detestful. It is not at all okay. It is not at all giving any happiness. He should personally experience these things. So this is the argument of Prajapati Daksha. Those whose minds are changed by others do not become as renounced as those who have personal experience. Simply hearing others, they may change again their mind. So they should be allowed to materially enjoy all experiences they should undergo, all kinds of material enjoyment, and because of that later there will be a lot of miseries. He should experience those miseries, and then he'll come to the conclusion that, oh, material enjoyment is detestful. So allow them to experience all these things. Why are you coming and disturbing them? This is the argument of Prajapati Daksha. So here we need to understand how Srila Prabhupada explains about three kinds of vairagyas, predominantly two, but here in the purport, one more Prabhupada speaks of. One thing we know, what we call as Markata Vairagya. Monkeys, they're all like appear as if greatly detached personalities. They wear no clothes. They stay in the forest, they eat only some fruits and things available in the forest, it appears as if, oh, very austere, very detached. But internally, they are so much into sense gratification, especially whatever their lusty desires, uncontrolled. That is Markata Vairagya. And one more concept we hear is Smashana Vairagya. People, especially when they go to some crematorium, see their near and dear ones. So many years they were staying with us. Now their body is put into fire. It's burning. So looking at that, oh, one day even I'll have to die like this, when my body will be put into fire. Why should I so much become entangled in all these material activities? That Vairagya will come when they go to that crematorium. But once they come out of that, come to their homes, again involved in all the material activities. So this is Smashana Vairagya. Similarly here, Prabhupada explains about one more thing about Prasava, or especially women. When they give birth to a child, it seems they make a promise for themselves, next time, I'll never give birth to any children. It is so painful giving birth to a child. Next time, and see to it that I'll not give any birth to any child in future. But again, after that, again they become entangled. Again, 1, 2, they create progeny, and it goes on like this. So, in conclusion, it is said, under the circumstances, Srila Prabhupada writes this, unless one gets the association of a devotee like Narada Muni or his son, the disciplic succession, one's dormant spirit of renunciation cannot be awakened. Just by going through different kinds of miserable conditions, a person doesn't become detached. The material attachment is so strong. In spite of whatever miserable condition, he is not ready to give it up. That's the position, that's the way Maya works. Avaranatmika Shakti, Prakshepatmika Shakti, it is so strong. Otherwise, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Artho, Artharthi, Artha, meaning one who is distressed, he surrenders to Krishna. But we see very less people have surrendered to Krishna. That means, is it that the people in the outside world who have not surrendered to Krishna, they are not Artha, they are very happy in their life? Not at all. They are more miserable. But still they are not surrendering. Why? Because they have not performed the pious activity, that credit they don't have. They have not come in touch with a pure devotee. They have not taken instructions from a pure devotee like Narada Muni and devotees coming under their disciplic succession. So till that happens, real Vairagya will never come out. It is not a fact that because material enjoyment involves so many painful conditions, one will automatically become detached. See, never. Automatically they'll never become detached. Whatever painful conditions they are put into. One needs the blessings of a devotee like Narada Muni. Then one can renounce his attachment for the material world. The young boys and girls of the Krishna consciousness movement have given up the spirit of material enjoyment not because of practice, but by the mercy of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his servants. So it is not that by practice, get married, get children, suffer in the material world, enjoy in the material world, and then you experience for yourself, then you will become renounced, and then you will take up to Krishna consciousness. No, this will never happen. The only way is hearing from a pure devotee, surrendering to a pure devotee, ready to accept and follow the instructions of a pure devotee like Narada Muni, like Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and coming in the same disciplic succession, we are very fortunate to have Srila Prabhupada as our spiritual master. Just accepting his words, be ready to follow them, that brings out real detachment from this material world. It is not through personal experience, it is not through any other way, but by the mercy of a pure devotee. So this is what we can understand from this wonderful pastime. We'll end with this. Grantraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki.